Good morning, everyone. I'm going to do the announcements briefly this morning. My name's Chris Drescher, he, him pronouns. I am co-president of the board for 5 more months. Who's counting? Who's counting? There's a lot going on here at UUCA. There's many places to find that information. Certainly our monthly newsletters, our orders of service, which you already have, our weekly e-announcements, Facebook, Instagram, website, Common Area TV, and the bulletin boards, among potential other ways. If you are new here, you may also fill out and return a blue card in the seat back pocket to be added to our email list and Realm, which is the online extension of our community. One specific thing coming up this week is that there will be a day change to the meditation group. The meditation group is going to be meeting at 7 p.m. on Wednesdays online. And also, feel free to check the bulletin board for other events that may be going on this week and excerpts from this day in Unitarian Universalist history. We hope that you, are there any other brief announcements highlighting any church-related events? Yes, Chris Garcia. Just come up and use the mic in case people are on Zoom, please.
Quick clarification, there are 2 meditation groups. One meets on Wednesday online, and then the other one meets here in person on Monday. Is that right? No problem with that.
You're the boss. Yeah.
Okay. I thought maybe something got changed without anybody telling me. That happens.
I just have this. That's the only reason I said that.
Okay, well, the meditation Wednesday online. Those of you who are interested in meditation, would like to learn meditation, Monday, I unlock the kitchen door at 6:30, and we gather and we start at 7. And if you don't know how to meditate, we'll teach you. Thank you.
And the good thing about meditating is you can do it every day. So you can do Monday and Wednesday. You can get, all right. If there's no other church-related announcements, I will say we hope you'll linger with us after service for conversation, coffee, and fellowship in the common room or on Zoom, if that's how you're viewing the service today. And worship will begin shortly. Thank you.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Augusta, a beloved community where we gather together to create a space of love, compassion, and justice, and inclusion, which is sorely needed in this world right now. My name is Cheryl Martin. I use she, her pronouns, and today I am co-creating this service with our minister, Nick Filzen, Joe Patchen, and do we have choir today or contemporary music ensemble? Thank you, Joe. And all of you, whether you're here in person or attending on Zoom. Excuse me. Just needing to take a moment just to be and just to be here. I'd like to extend a welcome to those of you who are new for the first time, coming here for the first time, or you're more than invited. I strongly encourage you to, if you feel comfortable, to visit with our membership coordinator, Fern Smith. I believe she is just outside. The wonderful young lady who came to greet you. She's very interested in getting to know you and what your interests are. And if you can, fill out a blue card and that will help the process. I also want to extend an invitation to you to join us after the service for snacks and conversation. Existing members will know who you are by the red or the green tags. Now for the green tags is your way of saying, hi. It's okay to talk to me and get to know me right away, but red is just like, it's okay, but I just want to step back for a bit to check things out and to know you more slowly. In honor of this sacred time and out of respect for others, I ask you to take a moment to put your phones or any other devices in worship mode. Whether you're here in person or attending on Zoom, I invite you now into our time of worship together. Blessed be.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Rev Nic and my pronouns are he, him. So glad to see each and every one of you here today. As we do each Sunday, and in fact, at many of our events, we light our chalice now, a symbol of our faith. And I share these words by Reverend Jan Richardson to accompany this lighting. You hardly knew how hungry you were to be gathered in, to receive the welcome that invited you to enter entirely. You began to breathe again. You learned to sing. But the deal with this blessing is that it will not leave you alone, will not let you linger. This blessing will ask you to leave, not because it is tired of you, but because it desires for you to become the sanctuary that you have found.
Would you rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 323, Break Not the Circle, verses 1 and 2.
So this is the time of our service every week when we gather together and share those joys and sorrows that have come into our lives.
You know, the world feels heavy right now. And being here together, as was shared by a few folks, is one way to regenerate, renew some joy amongst us. And doing some intentional spiritual practice, especially in this moment of history, I think is super important. And when I say spiritual, I mean in the complex relationship between being grounded and connected to something bigger, grounded and connected to something bigger and bigger and bigger. I think our Buddhist friends do that very well with the meditation, which is essentially a loving kindness meditation. So I'd like us to practice that now. Before I do that, I'm going to have Nat share what Barbara shared in the chat. Thank you, Nat. So as we enter into this meditation, this guided meditation, I invite you to do whatever allows your body to feel most grounded in this space, whether that is placing your feet square upon the ground, crossing your legs, sitting with a straight back, or if in somewhat of a Christian mode, if you want to bow your head and clasp your hands, whatever feels most comfortable for you, most grounding, most connected. And with this kind of meditation, first, it's important to remind us that we love ourselves. We start right here within. As you breathe in, notice what you're feeling. And it's all good. Don't try to push anything away. Just notice what you're feeling on that inhale. And as you exhale, gently say to yourself, may you be loved. May you feel joy. We'll do that several times. Inhale, notice. Exhale, gently say to yourself, maybe even place your hand on your heart as you do it. May you be loved. May you feel joy. Do one more inhale and exhale. May I feel loved. May I feel joy. And on the inhale, continue to notice how you're feeling. Perhaps even expand your awareness to the room. Don't push anything away. Just be present with whatever is happening, including the lovely baby noises, any kid noises that arise. But now, as you exhale, send it toward one specific person, somebody you love, somebody you know well, repeating the same mantra. May you feel loved. May you feel joy. May you feel loved. May you feel joy. Again, keep the inhale, practice of noticing, perceiving. But on your next exhale, send that blessing of kindness towards somebody you don't know that well. Perhaps somebody you see occasionally at the grocery store. Somebody you bump into here but haven't really spoken with yet. May you feel loved. May you feel joy. On your next exhale, we're going to do the hardest one of these. We're going to send that love and joy towards somebody that maybe rubs us the wrong way, who we're in active conflict with now. Somebody who's challenging for you. May they feel loved. May they feel joy. Now we're going to extend that love and joy outward. Think about everyone in this country, especially those who are hurting, who are most afraid, most at risk in this current moment. No one is free until we're all free, so send it first to the folks who are being actively targeted. May all in this country feel loved. May they feel joy. See if you can imagine spreading the energy out from you to encompass all those folks. Knowing that includes everyone in this room. Sending a gentle, loved, a hope for joy. And now I invite you to expand that love and hope for joy out as far as you possibly can. Everyone and everything in the interdependent web of existence of which we are a part. May all beings feel loved. May all beings feel joy. We'll sit now with that hope in silence for about 30 seconds, and Josef will conclude our meditation moment with some reflective music. blessed. May we be a blessing. Amen.
Especially during the last couple of weeks, I've been questioning whether I am, or if I ever have been, truly included in this idea that we have, that we've known, or thought we've known, or thought we knew as the American dream. It hasn't been easy, and I've definitely been feeling some kind of way about it, more than I can go into right now. So we'll leave that conversation for another time and place. This is such a weird, scary, and uncertain time for so many of us. And it's far too much for any of us to go through alone. That's another reason why we do what we can do to help build and sustain this work in progress that we call our beloved community. And so, with that being said, I invite you into this time of generosity to give what you can. Checks and cash will be accepted. For those of you wishing to pay online or via text, our folks on the tech that will be presenting that information actually right now, as a matter of fact. Will the ushers now come forward, please? That was wonderful. Thank you so much for your generosity. And I just want to extend a special thanks to our youth ushers today. It's wonderful that we are now including young people in that. That's a wonderful thing to see.
Emma had a deep love for her religious community at the UU congregation of Kiwani, a community she truly believed offered something unique and special for so many people. People who otherwise were consistently left out, or worse. Because of this deep love for her faith, other people, and life itself, she often reflected on what it meant to be truly inclusive, to create a religious community that truly welcomed folks, a religious community that doesn't just say they're inclusive, because that seemed like a relatively easy thing to do. A religious community which did the things, made the changes, physical and otherwise, created the policies, a community of faith willing to do all the things that allowed folks to enter and immediately feel welcome and continue to feel welcome. That seemed like a harder thing to do, and it was the right thing to do. One Sunday morning, Emma exited worship and walked toward the large community room, a room filled with warmth by the people, the cherry wood that lined the floors and walls, and of course the smell of fresh coffee and cookies. As she entered, she noticed some folks she didn't recognize, sitting alone in the corner. They kind of stood out because they were black, and nearly everybody else in the room was white passing. She noticed how some people looked like they wanted to go say hi, but ultimately hesitated to approach these newcomers. Perhaps people were unsure of how to communicate with new people, perhaps afraid of making them feel even more isolated through an unintentional microaggression. Anxiety and white fragility, and maybe a smidgen of awareness deficit, was potentially ruining a chance for connection. Emma took the initiative. She boldly approached them and said hi, then asked if it was okay if she sat down with them. With a bit of a nervous and equally relieved smile, one of the two women said, "Yes, please." The other remained silent and a bit more stoic. Emma quickly learned that the two women were married. Their names were Roberta and Jasmine, and their young child was Justice, with a Y. Roberta was the mom who invited Emma to sit with them. Now, since Emma was always very curious about new folks, and she was now confident the family wanted to connect more, after a little bit of additional small talk, Emma decided to go a little deeper. She said, "So tell me more about you." The family shared a few stories, where they were from, some religious trauma, some joyful moments too. They also asked Emma about herself, similar life path, also some religious trauma, also some joyful moments. Like getting to know somebody new in the game Sims 4, Emma clicked all the right imaginary bubbles overhead to intentionally advance the relationship and get closer with potential new friends. Importantly, very importantly, she was more interested in building authentic relationship with this unique and interesting family than trying to sell them on how great the church was at all or them, or complaining about the things she didn't like there. Eventually, and organically, the conversation did, however, turn toward the church. The newcomers all asked some questions, including Justice, who was very interested if there was anybody else her age there to play with. Roberta and Jasmine then said they had been tentative about coming to a church at all because of the trauma they spoke about earlier. Jasmine was especially cautious. They even had had a bad experience at another UU church, which was far too passive about calling in bad behavior. They had experienced a lot of microaggression. Emma couldn't relate exactly, but she cared. She was very proud of some work she was doing in the church. So she shared she was on a task force to help create a new church covenant, one that would hopefully help prevent that kind of behavior that had harmed Roberta and Jasmine previously, or at least hold it accountable. She was excited about this work. And so she wondered if Roberta, Jasmine, and Justice were interested in at least looking at the current draft. Pleasantly surprised that she was asking their opinion, or was at least interested in them as these newcomers to share their thoughts. They looked it over. They liked a lot of what they saw, but they were curious why it seemed devoid of spirituality, which was still very important to them, even though they knew that there were many atheist and humanist folks in the space who may or may not be uncomfortable with that word. Justice also made a good point. The words seemed to be written exclusively for adults. Emma was impressed. She was impressed with the feedback and promised to take it to the other task force members to discuss. After a long chat, the new family and Emma said goodbyes and expressed hope they would see each other again. If not at church, then in the wider community. A real connection had been made. That night, Emma continued to reflect on the conversation and her renewed interest in inclusivity, what it means, how to do it, why it's important. She realized inclusivity was not just about welcoming others into a space, but all about making space for their unique perspective and potential leadership too. It was a two-way street. You'll be happy to know as they got more and more integrated over the years, Justice, Jasmine, and Roberta had so much more to offer to this church as they became fully integrated. Both in the short term and long term, the faith community was richer because of their presence. Y'all, we've been widening our circle of concern in many ways over the years, both as a tradition and as a local congregation. And no matter how much work we've done, no matter how much wider the circle is now than it was 5, 10, even 50 years ago, we can always make it wider still until it indeed embraces all the living. Doing so is a matter of good faith. In good faith with each other in our existing UU congregation and faith tradition, in good faith with folks who haven't entered our doors yet, folks who may never enter our doors yet who matter nonetheless. Y'all, we have something wonderful to offer here. We really do. And we must do the work to truly feel like the right place for others. More importantly, we must recognize that those we haven't yet met probably have something great to offer us too. Their presence, their perspectives, their experiences, and their wisdom would make us better, richer, more whole, more holy. If we think that we have exactly what others need without the realization that others have exactly what we need, then we become just another group of white saviors. Folks who patronizingly believe we have the right answer for everyone else. This shrinks our circle by unintentionally reaffirming a symptom of white supremacy culture instead of celebrating multiculturalism as we have promised to do in our own church covenant. Inclusivity is a practice that clearly and repeatedly leads to living love. That said, inclusivity does not mean a lack of integrity. It does not mean accepting all beliefs. I'm looking at both sides of the same coin here today. And it certainly does not mean we should accept all behaviors without question. As many of my colleagues say often, all people are welcome here. All people are welcome. All beliefs and all behaviors are not. we must be clear among ourselves and within ourselves about our core values, built on the foundation of active, transformative, liberating love. This love is not Pollyanna-ish, and it isn't necessarily erotic, though we will discuss next week how we can be more inclusive around that sensitive yet important aspect of our whole lives. Our love here, our love is a radical love that demands justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Again and again, it's demanded of us. I ask you to consider my friend David. The name is made up for anonymity. As a board president at a small UU congregation in Kansas, David was passionate about inclusivity. Yet he struggled with setting boundaries, as did his congregation. He naively believed being inclusive meant saying yes to everything. Soon, the group he led, this faith community, became chaotic and certainly not covenantal. Interestingly, he critiqued Elon Musk for promoting an anything goes culture on Twitter, a chaotic culture which ultimately feeds hate. And yes, I'm intentionally using Twitter's dead name. David didn't realize he was unintentionally going down the same path as Twitter at church. The issues started kind of small, with people interrupting each other during small group ministry conversations. Then, people started to say hurtful things about each other, like frequently calling David stupid, among other choice language in committee meetings. Then folks started to say more and more racist or sexist things. The microaggressions were flowing steadily. The church started to shrink, and it was the people of color, folks with disabilities, and queer kids who left first. This, of course, made the situation all the worse. David eventually had to realize that without embodying his core values, the church's core values, with integrity, without boundaries, inclusivity became meaningless. David discovered that inclusivity is not about letting everyone do as they pleased. Instead, practicing inclusivity means creating a space where everyone feels valued and heard. Sounds a bit like creating beloved community, doesn't it? Eventually, David, the congregation he led, learned to set soft boundaries, malleable boundaries that were firm yet flexible, allowing for growth and understanding. Everyone began to flourish. The church began to flourish. Inclusivity is not just a Unitarian Universalist ideal. We did not make it up. It's a practice shared by many religious traditions. The Jewish concept of tikkun olam calls for the repair of the world through acts of kindness. The Christian teaching of loving your neighbor as yourself emphasizes the importance of compassion and empathy. The Buddhist practice of metta, which we did earlier, or loving kindness, encourages us to extend goodwill to all beings. These teachings remind us that inclusivity is a spiritual practice, a way of living our faith in good faith. Our circle of concern should continually widen, as it has been. This does not mean we should lose our identity or dilute our values. It does mean we affirm all are worthy of love and dignity and show folks that we mean it. It means we are open to learning from others, to being transformed by their presence, made more whole by their presence. Let us recommit to widening our circle of concern. Let us welcome those who have not yet entered our doors, knowing that they have something valuable to offer. Let us be clear about our core values and set boundaries that honor those values. And let us embody embody our core values, our values of justice, pluralism, interdependence, generosity, equity, transformation, and inclusivity, all of which are grounded in transformative, liberating love. May our hearts be open, our spirits be willing, and our actions be guided by that love. Let us widen our circle of concern until it includes and embraces all the living. And if we never reach that goal, let's keep on trying. Blessed be, and amen.
Would you rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn? The third verse of 323, break not the circle.
Risen, embody your spirit for one more moment of blessing. Before I give that blessing, I do hope that folks will attend all the intergenerational family faith formation today. Adults will be in here as typical. We will talk more about the specific practices within Unitarian Universalism to expand our circle of concern. But before then, I share these words by my friend Julian Hamika Soto. To be free, you must embrace the breadth of your own existence without apology. But to actually be free, you must know and you must fight for the entire universes inside of everyone else. Blessed be.